Recently, at the maiden edition of New Central's Inside Lagos Politics, that's the Chairman's Dialogue, representatives from various political parties gathered to discuss key issues shaping the political landscape in Lagos State. They spoke on parties' role as opposition, coalitions, and the dynamics of political collaboration ahead of 2027. Well, joining me on the show this evening to discuss this more is Ayoyinka Oni, is the chairman of the African Action Congress, Lagos State. I also have George Ashiru, is the chairman of African Democratic Congress for Lagos State. And also Temilola Akinade, chairperson, Interparty Advisory Council, also known as IPAC, Lagos State. Gentlemen and lady, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here as usual.
All right. Now, let me start by asking this. I mean, before the show this evening, I was having a conversation with a friend as regards what will be discussed. And I told him that it centers around Lagos politics. And one question he asked me is, do we still have an opposition in Lagos? So maybe I'll just start from there. My question is, I mean, to you, let me start with you, Ayoyinka. Do opposition parties still play a pivotal role in Lagos State politics?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. That we have an opposition in Lagos is affirmative. And
do we?
Yes, we are. I've been the chairman of my political party now for close to 3 years, and there's nothing that we have been doing basically than opposing what the government is doing. But the question is, what are we opposing? Are we just opposing because we don't like their faces or because they have been there for a long time? No. What we have been opposing are the policies that are harming the people. We need to understand as politicians, the reason why we are there is because of the people. If the people can rule themselves and there's no problem, they can share the resources and make sure they are good and their family, what is the purpose of being politicians? But why we are there is so that resources can go to every corners of Lagos, every local government. So we have been opposing the policies that the government of APC, who have been there for a long time, has been using to harm the people. If the people are happy, if the people are okay, opposition will be almost useless, because what are you going to oppose? But clearly their policies in healthcare, their policies in taxation, their policies in infrastructure, in education that have been harming the people. I'll give you a quick example. The APC was part of the struggle at the people of Owodo, where they were actually taking their structures to take their lands illegally. And we put a stop to that. I can mention the names of key politicians in Koshofe who were members of our party that did that. That's clear opposition. Recently also, parents came out, teachers came out, that there was increase in the school fees of their children. I joined that protest myself. So many opposition like that. So that is what we are going to oppose.
Okay, let me put the question to Mr. George Ashiru. I mean, Mr. George, maybe I should, just adjust it a bit. How vibrant is opposition politics or balanced politics, if at all, in Lagos?
How vibrant is the opposition?
Yes.
Well, I think one of the things we ought to always remember about Lagos is Lagos has always been a unique entity, even in the days of military rule. The military would not have left power if not for opposition and activism that emanated from within Lagos as a state. And then, of course, the Western region essentially was the bastion of the anti-military movement. So I don't think there's a problem in the context of that opposition has never really existed within the state. It is because those who fought to get the democracy that we are now enjoying are now the people oppressing us. Those people that we trusted, that we went on the trenches with in the 80s, in Babangida's time when I was university, and subsequently in Abacha's time in the 90s. These same people that we marched together, they were our elder brothers, but we marched with them. And we trusted them with leadership. We expected them to bring forth this new golden age of Nigeria. They went into the political party system, and then they reverted to behaving just like the people that we pushed out. And I think you might say that there's a shell shocking in the people. The people are shell shocked. And sometimes it takes a whole generation to come out of that shell shocking to say, hey, this is not what we fought for. And this is certainly not what we started to vote for in 1999.
Mr. George,
and unfortunately, like you said, Lagos being in the unique part of that fight, there's belief that the people that we fought together will bring forth the democracy we are looking for, but they are not. And what you are seeing now with the partisan environment is people now relearning how to engage, to go back to the trenches. And if you look at the last election, where for a change, Lagos brought forth unusual results in elections and very active governorship candidates, you might say that the battle of the opposition has just begun.
All right, you used the word, you said people are shell-shocked. I would like you to break that down for the benefit of those watching. What exactly does that mean?
Now, when you look at Animal Farm, the very important book by George Orwell, you know, the animals presumed that once they put in their leaders who are fighting them in the movement for emancipation from cruel rulership or the oligarchy, that they will then have the freedoms, the benefits of the freedom they fought for. On the other hand, what happened then, as we all know, is that some people now say that we are all equal. Some people are more equal than the others. And so this is the shell shocking. The fact that we went to the trenches, we were tear gassed, some people were arrested, you know, in various names and the incarnation of names from Save Nigeria, Nadeco prior to that and after that. And then when Lagos was now becoming the so-called center of excellence, what has happened is that those who have gone into power in Lagos are more interested in keeping the power more than even the military. And they're using military methodologies to keep people quiet, both intrinsically and extrinsically. So that the shell shocking for a lot of people is that those who are there are a bit like, okay, we have used our energy or our youth to fight for this. Is this what we fought for? Now we are teaching our children to understand what happened and how they should fight, and how they should go and reenact what we did in order to save the democracy and bring it back to the people and for the people. So the shell shocking is simple, is what we thought we were going to get is not what we are getting. Lagos is the only state in the whole Nigeria where only one party has ruled for 25 years, and not because the people want to vote, but because people don't vote. They don't want to vote. They are tired.
I mean,
apathy is because people don't have faith in the system, not because they don't believe in democracy. The lowest voter turnout in the elections is Lagos State. And because of disenfranchising of the people, it causes shell shock. When you are shell shocked, you are neutral, you are neutralized, you are essentially, it's like you don't have blood in your body, you can't do anything. And I think that's what's happened. And if you talk to people on the streets, that's what you are going to get. You are going to get this, we don't believe anymore. And we think that nothing is going to change. We don't believe in the idea that some people actually have the interest of the people. It never used to be Lagos. Lagos used to be where everything was possible, and people went out because they believed it could be possible. Now nobody's interested. And that's what we are trying to do as opposition through all of these activities, re-engage the people and begin to re-energize them, re-inspire them to come out and be involved again in saving democracy in Lagos State.
Dr. Ashiru, thank you so much. I mean, you raised another pivotal issue which has to do with voter apathy. We'll get to that. But I'd like to bring Mrs. Temilola Akinade. She's the chairperson for Interparty Advisory Council, Lagos State, into this conversation. My question to you, Ma, is opposition, the same question. How vibrant do we have it in Lagos politics? And also, are people really tired?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us this evening. Yes, we have a very strong opposition in Lagos State, and of course, it's really helping this administration, because we have a group, we have a platform where the political party says what they see, they heard and the needful thing to be done in the state. And like my colleague here, the AHC chairman, there was a time he sent something on the platform that why are they demolishing some houses? You know, when I picked the message, I sent to the appropriate quarters that why is this thing happening? I need answer from my people. And of course, they explain why they did that. And because of that singular act, it makes them to caution the next thing they want to do. They were like, these people will ask questions. So having opposition in Lagos State is really helping them not to go beyond what they think it's right for them and not right for the citizen. So having opposition in Lagos State is really in this government.
Okay, I'm still going to stay on this with very, will I call it, relatable examples now, because if you ask quite a number of residents, they will say they seem to feel the presence of the opposition more during electioneering season. So once it's time for elections, you see posters everywhere, and that's when you realize some parties actually do exist. But when critical issues, topical issues that affect daily life, you hardly see the opposition. Instead, maybe you see civil society groups who come out to protest, right? And the big question is this, and I think I'll start with Ayoyinka in the studio. Is it the strategy that the opposition is using that is really not creating that presence of mind in the hearts of many Lagosians? Because, I mean, for them, many of them will tell you, we only feel you during election time. Once the results are announced and tribunal and legal process is over, everyone goes to sleep. That's what it appears to be. So is it the strategy here, or is it the political landscape that is maybe stifled not to allow opposition thrive?
All right. So basically, I need to explain something to the people. Now, what exactly are the people looking from political leaders? What are they expecting from them? Now, there's been a divide in society where people begin to tell you statements like, well, if you're a politician, don't be an activist, which we need to correct. It is very wrong. All the top politicians in this country those days all had activism or journalist background. I can tell you, Bolage, Awolowo. Bolage was even connected to international activism, So basically, when some of us that are political activists without we don't have any remorse for it, if I tell you I'm a chairman of a political party, I'm also an activist, and you feel somehow I do not care, my activism is never going to stop. When we are towing that line of opposing government with our activism skills, people feel that, well, that's not opposition enough. What else is opposition? And I want to invite other politicians.
Does it really demarcate? Does it create a clear line? Will people be able to say, you know what, it's not activists this time. This statement or this fight is done by a political party? Because at some point, it seems like the line is blurry. So if there's protest in Lagos right now, or maybe there are issues that people are not comfortable with, we'll come to some topical issues, which I would ask, solutions to. You find out that on the streets, it's more of activists, that you will see, even on social media. The statements are usually maybe credited to some activists. Hardly do you see political parties at the state level, particularly in Lagos, take a stand.
Statements are made. In fact, I was asking the chairman of ADC on a particular issue that I saw only the statement of ADC, and he told us, oh, the release, but I didn't see it. Statements are made. Those are regular. It has almost become like a ritual. The truth is that the government of today respects only one thing: your boots on the ground. If you are going to stand against their policies that are weakening the people, you have to comfort. And I have to invite chairman of political parties. Stop sitting in your house and sitting in your room and think you just make a statement and this government is refusing to work, we just work. No, you have to come out. As political parties, a chairman of a party, you can approach the government house publicly and say, Governor, you are not doing this. We need to see you. Do this right. It is a protest. It's not until you call the huge crowd in Lagos. You are chairman, you carry power, you carry value.
All right.
No, that is it. So the ANC has been doing that opposition that way, and we're not going to change our method. It's still the best.
I'm still going to direct the same question to Mr. George Ashiru, and of course, Madam Temilola Akinade. But we need to go on a quick break now. Once we return, We'll definitely pick up. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on New Central Television, and we're looking at matters around Lagos politics. I still have my guests with me. I have Ayoyinka Oni, is the chairman of the African Action Congress for Lagos State. I also have Mr. George Ashiru, is the chairman for African Democratic Congress, Lagos State. I also have Mrs. Temilola Akinade, she's the chairperson for Interparty Advisory Council, also known as IPAC, Lagos State. I'm coming to you right now, Mr. George Ashiru. And my question, just like I asked Ayoyinka, could it be the strategy of many opposition parties that, you know, isn't creating that, what I call a presence, continuous presence of mind, you know, in many residents in Lagos, or maybe the dominance of the ruling party? But that's on one side. I would also like you to speak on the issue that seems to be in the talks now, which is having moles, you know, planted within the parties. Are there internal mechanisms, you know, that you know, opposition parties like yourself are doing to sort of sieve and look out for situations like this?
Let me answer this to the second question first. You know, anybody who's already the art of war by Sun Tzu or Machiavelli's The Prince, and any kind of Plato the Republic or any of the books on leadership and governance in the context of a nation state or a country, you will know that in military strategy, you should have spies in your adversary's camp. You should have people, it is even in the Bible, when they wanted to attack Jericho, they had to send spies to go and see the kind of fortification that they had. So it is something that the parties understand and they are aware. That's why the word moves, you know, came up. But I say one thing that's very important. If the leadership of a party is strong and the ideology of the party is pervasive and it touches the interests of the people, even the moles will be converted. Because at the end of the day, there is a thing called authentic leadership. There's authentic organization, organic political party. In those days of UPN, people were part of the UPN because they believed that, you know, the leadership of Awolowo gave it an organization that was interested in the welfare of the Yoruba race. And people who joined in the North and followed the likes of the late Ahmadu Bello, they also believed in an ideology that was protecting the interests of the North. So if anybody went in there as a mole, they would fail because the people really truly believed in leadership and the organic network that they had created. Now, why this is a problem is when the opposition, in quote, opposition parties in themselves are just a duplicate of the ruling parties, which means they have either no strong ideology, they're only interested in power, or they're only interested in lucre, which is what can we get? So for as long as a political party's leadership or structure or system is focused purely on just getting power or getting profit, then it is easy to get in there and destroy them. But if a political system or party believes in serving the people, it may not grow suddenly, it may not become powerful and rich, but it will become like a little cell that keeps multiplying, and it will become a critical mass after a while. And I think this is what we need to understand true politics is about. If you look at all other nations that practice politics we are practicing today, in the United States of America, those who are Democrats are lifelong Democrats born into democratic ideologies. Their parents and their foreparents and their foreparents believed in that ideology. And so there was no fear that anybody will come in their midst and try and scatter them with an ideology which they can easily see as being heretic. So because we have political systems that are not based on ideological principles and leadership that is not based on moral precepts, and the ambitions and the visions of the party are not for the interest of the people, then that is when someone can go in there with 1 million, 5 billion, 5 billion, and the next thing you know, they are fighting over the money rather than over the ideology. And this is essentially why the opposition, in quotes, seems to be weak. You can see some political parties, the rate at which they change their chairman is an evidence that they are fighting more for power than for ideology. Instead of them to create stability with which the people can follow them because they have seen leadership that is consistent, they keep having this rota system of changing structures, changing leadership, and at the end of the day, the members of the party will go away and they will say that it is a ball. It is because of the leadership at the very top.
Mr.
I think these are some of the things that I am saying when we mentioned it during the event we had, that we must have internal democracies,
that would also bring me to
within the political systems for us to be able to address the elephant that is in the room.
All right, that will bring me to a follow-up question before I move to Mrs. Temilola, and that is the issue of funding of the party as an opposition, right? You talked about someone coming into a political party, for instance, with, bags or stacks of money, and then all of a sudden attention shifts from collective good to personal interest, and people fighting for that cash, right? Funding for many political parties, particularly on the opposition side, is an issue. I mean, as an opposition, how do you thrive?
I'll tell you one thing. People who believe in an ideology or they believe in a principle, they put their money where their mouth is. So, as political party, ever since I became chairman of ADC, I have not received any official funding from anywhere. I do have members of the party that believe enough in my leadership to say, I want to donate money towards this cause or this program or this event, and purely because they believe in it, not because the party requires it of them. How do entrepreneurs thrive? Entrepreneurs thrive by believing that they can supply a service or a good, and they start small and they reinvest what they have made as profits and they build it into becoming whatever you see today to become massive organizations. This is the same principle we have to bring into the political system. We have to bring an entrepreneurial mindset where we sell our vision to the members, and the members put their little dimes into making the party strong. Because if we don't sell that principle, what we are going to end up being is that we'll be going from house to house looking for a sponsor. And once you bring an investor or a sponsor, then you are going to then have what happens in companies, which is what we call shark attack. That is a corporate takeover. And once that entity or that individual takes over, it becomes the godfather of the party. And you know fully well that not all godfathers are benevolent. They are not there to help. They are there to reap. And those are the things we need to learn from the Mandelas of this world. We need to learn from all these other great leaders, Mahatma Gandhi and all of that. And people like Martin Luther King who are poor, but they created a mass movement and people put in their resources. Again, I'm bringing it out as a challenge for us that we need to move away from building political parties around money and building political parties around service. Because service, people start churches. A man will wake up and say, I have a vision. And the next thing you know, he has built a university. What does that tell you? So the problem is not that people will not invest, it's because people don't believe enough. And the reason they don't believe is because they believe all politicians exist to make money, to steal money, to divert money, and that's what we need to change. Once we change the narrative ourselves, people will believe more in us and invest more in our activities, and the parties can stand alone and grow. And people will vote for you if they believe in you, even if you do not give them money. But as long as they think you're a duplicate of those people that have deceived them in the past, they would rather keep the devil they know than the angel that is coming to meet them.
Okay, I'm still going to dwell on funding, and I'll direct the same question to Mrs. Temilola Akinade. I mean, the issue of funding for political parties, particularly on the opposition, is pivotal. And of course, this issue, to a very large extent, is maybe not unconnected to cases where you hear the ruling party funding, allegedly, some opposition. It's all about the money game. So funding for opposition party. Ma, what's your take?
Thank you very much. Funding in political parties that are not ruling, it's so difficult because there's nobody founding political parties, not from the national, except from the members. The monthly fee, the little you are able to to gather from the political your members. That is only what we are living on. We are leading on to, because like if you notice, you can't see most political parties offices everywhere, like having 4 or 5 different secretariats everywhere, just because there's no power to fund it. You can only say political parties.
So it's okay to say that part of the issues is for many parties that are not able to build physical structures is linked to lack of funds.
Yeah, definitely. It's lack of fund, and it's really affecting the political parties.
All right, maybe I should also take the opinion of Ayoyinka on this.
Yeah, so basically, before I talk about the funding, while some people are not opposing is because the word opposition has been bastardized. If somebody says walking to the island, and one of them says he's going to take Yaba and Butemeta, another is taking Owuru, they are all just going to the island walking. So that's not opposition, you know. But somebody says he's going to take a car, take a bus, that's a different approach, you know. So if the government says removing subsidy, and someone that says opposing said I also support removing subsidy, that's not opposition. So the problem is, what are we opposing? You know, so basically, when I'm called opposition as a chairman, sometimes I just feel reluctant, because the other people that they call opposition with us, when you hear their policies, it's the same thing with those in government. So Nigerians should recognize the real opposition and work with them. On funding, the reason why this has become an issue is because there's a system problem. A system problem that has made politics to be expensive. I used to tell people, I'm a politician. If you are in politics and you are making money, you are a thief.
If you're in politics and you are making money,
you are a thief. If you need money, go and be an inventor. If you need money, go and set up a company. All the people making serious money in this politics that we're playing today, they are thieves. Because politics is supposed to be public service. You are the biggest servant in the country, taking yourself, risking yourself, sacrificing your time, your family and everything to make sure the people are okay. It is the most trustworthy and the most, you know, anointed work that should be done. But when people are not coming to politics to actually work for the people, toil for the people, make sure the people are okay, and they are just in politics to make so much money, everything becomes expensive. It now becomes a business.
So what do you consider a solution to the issue of funding for parties?
Thank you. So the solution is systematic. Why? We need to toil down the issue of funds in politics. How people are elected, the forms. You're talking about party forms, and some people are sharing dollars. Why? Giving dollars to delegate. Why? How do you expect such a man to win and not go and steal? Where did he get all the dollars from?
So you mean that some parties encourage?
Oh yes, it's a system issue. So when dollars is being shared to delegate, dollars is being shared to people, there's money politics and all that, politics become expensive. It's not supposed to be. Yes, you need funds to manage your party. But if all these issues are not at play, it's not going to be so much. People, the money people will be donating will be enough for you to run your party, to run everything and all that, and there will be a reduction of funds that we are getting. And it is true. We shouldn't deceive ourselves. Some political parties are sponsored by bigger political parties. Nobody should come. You know, some of those chairmen, when you interview them, they will not agree. But I don't like that kind of politics of deceit. What did they do? They fund. In fact, when some politicians cannot get tickets in their party, they will go to another party, get tickets in their party, win, and leave. Some local government chairman will accept them just so that they can make money in that period. Some chairmen will also do that. So it's transactions. We don't care about the life of the people. Why will we not be complaining about? Instead of we, as chairmen, as leaders, to tackle the system that has put us in this problem, we rather play the game to continue to be asking for money. So that is what is causing the problem. And it's a system issue, and we must be ready to solve it.
I mean, we are really racing for time, but let's move away from, of course, party structure and internal politics within parties to talk about Lagos State, its residents, and some of the pivotal issues that affect their daily lives, and how the government of the day is addressing these issues. Part of it has to do with the cost of living, transportation, and accommodation, rent, right? It's a big issue. So maybe I will start with you, Mr. George Ashiru. I mean, As a strong opposition in Lagos State, how do you rate the handling of the current administration on these issues I've mentioned and maybe more?
I think one of the things that I mentioned in the chairman's dialogue is always going to be valid, which is this. What is the priority of a leader in government, a governor, for example? If you are making IGR of about 400, 500 billion every year, and then you have federal allocations, or your IGR is almost 700, even 1 trillion. And what is your expenditure priority? And what I have seen in Lagos State is that the focus of the various governors in Lagos State and the political administration in Lagos State is building physical infrastructure. But maybe they want to be like Dubai, want to be like some of the Luxembourg and some of these other small city-states in Europe. And so by putting so much effort on building roads and bridges and beautiful looking towers and real estate that most people cannot afford, in their opinion, they're making Lagos beautiful, and therefore there's development. But there's the other side of development, which is the development of the people. And these are the things called the human development indices. So if the people are not eating proper square meals in a day, it doesn't matter how many high-rises you have in that city, it's a failure. If you don't have good sanitation, if your transportation system is terrible, if the road networks themselves are death traps, if at the end of the budget year, you have not lifted more people out of poverty and increased employment and increased manufacturing and built the SMEs, ensuring that the middle class is able to employ more people and reduce, therefore, crime as a result of the fact that employment has been increased, then you are truly failing in governance. It's a matter of priority. We sometimes forget that one of the things that makes all these other foreign nations great, like Singapore, like Malaysia, is because all of a sudden Taiwan, for example, 30 years ago, the income per capita of the average Taiwanese was similar to that of the average Nigerian 30 years ago. The income per capita of the average Taiwanese today is over 7, 8, 9 times more than that of Nigeria. $30,000 per capita. We are still hovering at about 6,000 or less. What has happened? What's the difference between ourselves and Taipei and Taiwan? Taiwan invested in vocational education, technical training. Therefore, manufacturing became a major opportunity for them. They began to open plants in mainland China and increased employment, and they were selling to the rest of the world. And other factories were coming there, they were using their people, and now the people are richer. There are more middle-class Chinese now than the whole of America, the population of America. But that was not the case 30, 40 years ago. So it means that what we are looking for is, and this is the reason we're in opposition, is because we don't believe that this is the best way to use our resources. Lagos can definitely be more, as our former governorship candidate used to say. And I think this is what I see, and we see even as a political party, that is a major issue, that you are making a few people richer by concentrating resources and building infrastructure that is for them, by them, and you're not spending enough money on education, on healthcare, on employment and increasing employment, in sanitation, basic things. And that is why you see that in all the world indices, one of them, very important, it says that Lagos is one of the least livable cities in the world. So what is the point of Banana Island? What is the point of Eco Island or whatever the very Atlantic City, where we're spending trillions and upon trillions and upon trillions, for which the real estate is only accessible to 0.00001% of the population of that enclave, which is Lagos. It just doesn't make any sense to have so much investment that would make the rich richer and make the poor poorer because the average inflation rate is going to become higher as a result of the rich, increasing the rate at which they are charging for the facilities they are building. So this is, I believe, the weakness of the leadership that we have been getting so far. And that's one of the things that we are hoping that there's a credible alternative which our party can bring forth to the populace.
All right. I would definitely get the opinion of Ayoyinka Oni also on this matter, but we'll go on a quick break. Once we return, we'll definitely pick up. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on New Central Television, and we're discussing inside Lagos politics, the landscape, the political landscape, and of course the dynamics within. I still have my guest with me. Ayoyinka Oni is the chairman of the African Action Congress, Lagos State. I also have Mr. George Ashiru, the chairman of the African Democratic Congress, Lagos State, and Mrs. Temilola Akinade, the chairperson, Inter-Party Advisory Council, also known as IPAC, Lagos State. Thank you for staying with me. Let me come to you, Ayoyinka. The same question too. How the current administration of the day is handling basic issues that affect the average Lagosians, from security to cost of living to accommodation, which has become really prime right now. I mean, as an opposition in Lagos, would you have handled maybe some of these issues differently? 30 seconds.
Thank you so much. As far as that is concerned, it is clear that this government is failing on that. They are not interested in solving the primary problem of the masses, of Lagosians. In the midst of so much resources, we should have that. Lagosians should not assume that the government is going to do me any favor on what they're supposed to do. Lagos have vast IGR, and also the one coming from the federal government, but this is not used for the development of the people. You talk about accommodation. It is a big problem. In fact, it is so terrible. You can even have your money, you cannot rent, because as you are asking for one, someone is getting it on high prices. I
mean, it's so bad right now that some places where maybe you would pay 500,000 for a mini flat.
Yes.
Right now it's 1.2, 1.5,
yes.
And it's not like it's a
There's
prime
no
area.
regulation, and this is basic social amenities. Remember that you as a government, at least every year, as your time in the office, you should be able to create units of accommodation for people where they can rent in a very low rate, or you list to them.
Some have suggested that sector should be regulated.
Oh yes, it should be. Why is it not regulated? It's regulated all over the world. Why is it not regulated in Lagos? In Lagos, it's not done. People, so the citizens have been left on their own. So when people even manage, poor people manage to build some small shaped accommodation for themselves, they go and they take it down. Because you just want to make it a mega city, whereas there's mega poverty inside the so-called mega city. And infrastructure is terrible. They keep saying they're doing infrastructure. Have you gone into the local roads? Those roads are bad. The locality has been forgotten. Probably people just move between Maryland, Ikeja, and think they're in Lagos. No, that is just you within Lagos. Inside the city, inside the towns, the roads are terrible. And wow, this is Lagos. They're not doing any roads. The roads are not getting to the people. I should be able to come out of my house into a good road and well-tied road. In fact, in some areas in Lagos, landlords are the ones building roads by themselves in a state with mass resources. And if we are going to go into security, please, it is palatable and terrible. The security situation in Lagos, from robbery to cultists, there was fight in Mushin the other day. Shomolu, it's like they are moving the fight. And the police seem to not be able to stop it. The government seems to be silent. So what they do is that they make sure they are well secured, their family are well secured. The people can just go and begin to do whatever they feel in society. So it is terrible. The government of ours, coming immediately, those are the issues to be solving. Start building infrastructure. Target your infrastructure to the outskirts of Lagos, because there's a sinking problem in Lagos and it should be dealt with. There's a huge sinking problem in Lagos. If developers should be encouraged to do housing, while the government is also doing their own, not just leaving it for developers that want to make money, of course, and security should be localized. All right. These are the issues that the government should have talked. I want to say something before you go. A comedian said something, that when you complain about road to the governor, Babaji Sanwo-Olu, I can mention the name of the comedian, it's a video, it's everywhere. He said the governor said, well, we cannot do all those roads in the locality. Let's focus on where those big companies are. Those are the people that give the money. That tells you the priority of the government of our state.
All right. I mean, just to wrap up the conversation, I'm coming to you now, Mrs. Temilola Akinade, and that has to do with the issue of voter apathy and voter education. I know that Mr. George Ashiru did mention the word, he used the word voter apathy, that it appears people don't maybe trust the system anymore, and for that reason, when elections are announced, you hardly see people come out to perform their civic duty. Now, as political parties, what role do you think can be played to sort of ramp up that belief in the electoral system on the part of the voters?
Thank you very much once again. It has been in the system for years that people does not believe in their vote because they believe it doesn't count. And over the times we've been working, IPAC have been working seriously to make people believe that their vote still counts. And of course, we want to use this coming election as a case study to see if we can actually get things done. If people can still believe that their vote still counts, like what we did, last time we had a meeting with them, we keep telling them we want people to see that where their votes being collated is being open to everybody, not in a corner, not in a palace, not in any religion leader houses. We want to see, let everybody see that this is where my votes count. That is why we're working on. We don't want any local government secretariat to be used any longer. We don't want any people, party member to be used again. We want to use a field, a school where everybody will be there. And another problem we've been having in the past is when they don't allow the political party agent to come in to have the look of the result. At times they will tell them you can't enter this place, it's only for some political party. And we've been really working hard. How can all the political party agents be at the collation center, even from the polling unit? Let's have the results, let's map the result, let everybody see that this is the result. By the time they take it to the collation center to have the overall collation, everybody will be able to see that no, this is the election, this is the election I've worked for, this is the election I've suffered for. That from there you see people be coming out. And of course, because of the security, what happened to our security agencies? You see the brutalization and all that. I think we need to work on that. We've told them that listen, you need to have the security agencies ready, and nobody should work for. Of course, that is why we are saying that we should have a state policing. Nobody can just sit from anywhere and be controlling the states.
Mrs. Okay, I think we lost connection with Mrs. Temilola Akinade, but this, of course, is where we drop the curtains. I'd like to say a big thank you for your time on the show today. Okay, I think we have her back. We lost you for a moment now, but I'd like to say a big thank you to you. Thank you for your time on the program. Mrs. Temilola Akinade is the chairperson of Interparty Advisory Council, also known as IPAC, Lagos State. Thank you. I'd also like to say a big thank you to Mr. George Ashiru, chairman of African Democratic Congress, Lagos State. It's a pleasure, sir. Thank you. And Ayoyinka Oni, the chairman of African Action Congress, Lagos State. It's a pleasure. Gentlemen and lady, once again, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right. All right. At this point, this, of course, is where we drop the curtains. In case you missed out, you can actually catch up on our YouTube platform. That's at News Central TV. And in case you also missed the Inside Lagos Politics, the chairman's dialogue, which happened yesterday, it's on YouTube. On News Central, you can catch up there. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 422 and also GoTV channel 23. You can choose to follow me personally on social media. The handle is at Dapo Adegboye. Until I come your way again, happy Easter, good night.